Welcome to Disciplinary Literacy, Writing, and Social Studies. There are so many benefits of writing within the disciplines. So many opportunities are afforded to students in terms of the learning process, and for students to be able to intake information, process it, retain it, and then retrieve that information later on because of the writing process. Through writing, students can increase their comfort and their success in understanding complex material, unfamiliar concepts, and subject-specific vocabulary. Whenever we embed writing throughout the curriculum, it promotes the brain's attentive focus to classwork, homework, and it also boosts long-term memory. It illuminates patterns and it gives the brain time for reflection, and when well guided, it is a source of conceptual development and stimulus of the brain's highest cognition. There are certain shifts for teaching writing throughout the disciplines. A lot of times teachers will say, I just don't have time to write, or I don't have time to grade writings. We don't have to write essays every single day. We can have students write something that's related to your content every day, but we're not talking about taking notes. We're talking about real writing, writing to understand. Allow students some time to engage in written discourse with each other in place of discussing the content. So you could have silent conversations where students may annotate or comment on an article or political cartoon or image, and then have them pass it to their partner and allow their partner to respond to things they thought or answer questions another student may have. You can tell students early in the course that writing is going to be an expectation and it's something they're going to have to do. Use technology like blogs and wikis to engage students in writing. Provide relevant tasks such as real-world problems and give them authentic audiences whenever possible so that they can mirror real work in the discipline. Use writing as a type of formative assessment to guide instruction. You don't have to grade every piece of writing that a student does. Think of non-linguistic representation, such as drawings, symbols, and other visual text as writing as well. Whenever it's appropriate, allow for your students to use this. We talked about this in the speaking section when we talked about academic vocabulary, that our students need a variety of ways to show the information that they know. Don't worry about trying to be an English teacher. It's not your job. Worry about teaching what's relevant to our discipline. In a position statement from the National Council of Social Studies in 2008, the National Council of Social Studies stated that challenging social studies instruction makes use of regular writing. Students are expected to analyze and synthesize material across the text in writing as evidenced by document-based questions that dominate social studies curricula and tests. It's an expectation that in the social studies discipline, our students are writing regularly. Because how do we provide evidence? How do we come up with information using historical analysis if we're not experiencing writing? There are several forms of writing that we can use in social studies. We can respond to journals for current events, topics of studies, or primary-based documents. We can do timelines accompanying a narrative or an illustration. We can research topics to expand and communicate new learning. We can summarize and synthesize events from multiple sources. We investigate events in writing from a certain time period. Biographical reports. We can do interviews with someone in our field. We can create graphic organizers or essays that show compare and contrast, cause and effect, major event, contributing factors. We can do argumentative essays defending a position based on evidence. There's so many ways in social studies that we can incorporate writing. So in your green folder, there's a sample of a way that we can quickly incorporate writing when we chunk out our lessons. So two things you'll find there. You are going to find a handout called Captains of Industry or Robber Barons. Around the room, we've sort of gone with the theme of whether or not individuals like Carnegie and Rockefeller were captains of industry or robber barons. And so there's a reading that you can take a quick second to read. And then in the free write, quick write sample, You have 20 different lines, but you don't have to use all of them. In a classroom situation, you would give your students 3 to 5 minutes to brainstorm all the ideas they got from the reading. You could also do this with a video clip. But give your students some time. So I'd like for you to just take some time to read about the captains of industry or robber barons, and then brainstorm some ideas that you have on a quick write. And I want you to do that individually. Then I want you to turn to a partner who's in your group and discuss some of the items that you wrote in your brainstorm. And then if there was time, if this was in an actual classroom setting, we would do a group discussion. And the next step would then be to provide just 5 or 10 minutes for your students to actually write out their explanations. So in the first half of the activity, we're giving our students the time to go through and do the brainstorming process. 3 minutes to brainstorm. Then we give them a timed partner task. So we could do another 3 to 5 minutes for them to share their responses with a partner and gather more ideas from that partner and fill in their lines. We would do a class discussion to talk about the different ideas, and again, providing students another opportunity to fill in where they may have left some ideas out. And then we give them the 5 to 10 minutes to write. All of these processes allow our students time to sort of analyze the material for themselves, consider what is important, what things may not be so important before we get into the writing. This would be a very quick way to incorporate into your classroom lessons. We could build this in the middle of a lecture. We could build this in towards the end, but it's a great way to get your students thinking about what they're learning. Once you've had the opportunity to go through the activity, I would like for you to go to todaysmeet.com, and I would like for you to write one way that you could incorporate writing into your classroom lesson. And then I'd like for you to respond to another teacher in the thread. Remember, you only have 140 characters, so keep your responses brief. Have a great day.